Good afternoon. I know this isn't always the ideal spot to talk to folks when they're eating lunch or right after then, so I'll try to keep you entertained. I am an Ag Econ grad. Enjoyed hearing Dr. Sanders speak, and for some of you, you're going, why is this Ag Econ girl up here talking to us about communication stuff? And that's probably a very valid question. I will say, and Billy, who was helping me get mic'd up here, said he was from Verdon, so as Grady County people, I might disagree with Dr. Sanders' comment that Grady County is a metropolitan area. I don't know how many of y'all have been there lately, but I might disagree with that a little bit. I work at Department of Ag, and as everyone, I think several of you sound like, are involved in government or funded government in some ways. We consolidate, people pick up different jobs, and so my responsibilities at the department include working for Secretary Reese directly. I serve as our legislative liaison. I apologize I couldn't hear the first presentation this morning. And then I also am director of our communications division. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we are doing, and I think that probably from listening who's in the audience and some of the people that you all are trying to reach, you probably have some of the same challenges and issues that we do as far as getting your information to people. First thing is, everybody thinks the Department of Ag, and we're not just cows, sows, and plows, and for some of my FFA friends, that's probably a familiar message for you guys, but Department of Ag, we do a lot of different things. Primarily, we are a regulatory agency, so in some ways that, and obviously we are a state agency as well, so I always say that we can't ever have an opinion on anything. We can provide people information, but very rarely can we actually have an opinion, so that provides some challenges at times too. We also have a variety of marketing programs. Can I get hopefully a show of hands, anybody who is familiar with Made in Oklahoma, Farm to School, any of those ring a bell? Great, lots of folks. But those are housed out of our agency as well. So we cover a broad spectrum of programs. And we have a broad audience. I know the previous presentation, we heard everybody from Generation X, Y, and baby boomers, and everyone in between. And essentially most of the things that we do at the department target all of the citizens of the state of Oklahoma. And by that I mean we have programs that some of you may or may not be familiar with. A lot of things that people know that we do. Animal industry, protecting the herd health of the state of Oklahoma. Forestry, I think you had a chance to hear from Michelle Finch Walker this morning. But we also handle food safety. We have guys out in meat packing facilities on a daily basis taking care to make sure that the products that you and your children and family eat are safe. So essentially that means that we touch the lives of every Oklahoman here in the state. Our Consumer Protection Services Division, anybody had their house sprayed for termites, termiticide? Yeah, no, a little bit. But Consumer Protection makes sure when those guys are coming out there and spraying that on your yard that it really has something in there and they're not charging you a couple $100 for water coming out of their tank. So we do a lot of different things in working with the public. Wildlife Services Division helps producers who have predator problems, if you've got coyotes, if you've got hogs, if you've got buzzards. So pretty much anything you can imagine really falls under some scope of what we do at the department. And then of course the fun place to work is market development, and that's where we have our Made in Oklahoma program. We have the Farm to School, the Ag in the Classroom. So we try to address all of these different programs in our communication efforts. So within our communications division, there's a whopping 3 of us for all the programs that we handle, and I know a lot of you guys are short staff as well. One thing that we really try to do is keep the public informed, but not alarmed, and I'll give you an example of that. There's a fairly significant rabies outbreak in New Mexico, where they've had 32 positive cases there in cattle in New Mexico. We got the information on Friday. This is something obviously that we want to make people aware of because they've got 10 humans in New Mexico who are undergoing treatment for the rabies virus. So this is obviously something for our livestock producers to be aware of, but then also for humans to be aware of. Skunks are the big carrier here in Oklahoma, and lots of people, skunks get in your trash, do a variety of things. So it's one of those challenges. We want to get that info out to people so that they're aware, but when you headline something and it says rabies outbreak in New Mexico, then people get a little bit concerned. I mean, that makes people nervous. So we always try to tailor whatever message that we have in a way that it gets that information to the public, but that it doesn't cause significant alarm, because then our phones start ringing off the hooks, and that doesn't do a whole lot of good for anybody. And we also try to market the successes of both our regulatory programs and our market development programs. So we've got a website. Social media we just started when I joined the agency a couple of years ago. And we really don't think that you can provide information in too many formats. Some people love Facebook, some people love Twitter, some people are still on MySpace. We don't have a MySpace account, but people want that constant information provided to them. And everybody likes different formats, so we try to utilize a variety of those formats. The picture you can see up here, this is Secretary Reese at the Legislative Showmanship at OIE this past Wednesday. Took some pictures of him, put that up on our Facebook, and get a call from this chapter. This young lady's the president of the Hollis chapter, and they go, that grandmother had seen the daughter's picture on the Facebook. I mean, that's, you know, quickly how people see information and see people out and what they're doing. A little bit about Facebook. This is what we try to use a lot because so many people are tuned into this. 500 million users worldwide, and 1 in 13 people on Earth use Facebook. Not in the United States, not in Europe, but on Earth use Facebook, which that's a lot of people, and that's reaching a lot of people. Okay, another show of hands, Facebookers in the audience, anybody? Anybody looking at your Facebook while I'm giving my presentation? There you go. But you know, within 20 minutes, which is about the time of my presentation here, you've got 3 million messages that are being sent. I mean, that is pretty astronomical, how much information is buzzing through the airways in that short amount of time. Couple examples I want to give of earthquake. Anybody feel our earthquakes that we had just a few months ago? Yes, show of hands, okay. So I was at home. My husband's in the show cattle business. He was out working on the calves, and we're in the house, and you know, you're kind of going, okay, either we don't live near a train, and I don't think that was a jet plane. We live out in the country, and so you're trying to figure it out. News doesn't have anything, so what do? You get on Facebook, and you see all your friends just said, did you guys feel that? Did you hear that? Did you? And you go, yeah, we had an earthquake. I mean, that is how quickly, I mean, that's where you get your information from. And that's the big thing too, is Facebook is people feel like you are talking to a friend, because most of the people that are your friends, someone that you know, someone that your family knows, someone that you have contact. For example, I'm expecting in July, and so one of my other friends who is as well, she sent out a Facebook message and said, this will be her first child, but she said, what are my have-tos that I need to register for? And so, you know, within a couple of hours, she has 45 different comments from some of our different age groups of, well, I think you have to have this kind of swing, and I think you have to have these kind of diapers. But I mean, that's how people make their decisions in life, is from references from Facebook. And I'm sure you guys do the same thing, or you see somebody suggest, I really like this washer and dryer, those kind of things. They believe it because it's their friends telling them. And that's why at the agency, we want to provide information through Facebook, because if they like our page, if their friends like our page, they feel comfortable that's information that they can believe and that they can trust. The reach as well. The photo here, this is actually my son. He's 3. He loves to show horses. But this is my grandmother, his great-grandmother, who is, don't tell her I told you this, but she's 80 years old. And my grandmother has a tablet. So she carries this around with her, and the way that she keeps track of all of us grandchildren and great-grandchildren is through Facebook on her tablet. So don't kid yourselves that every generation is tuned into these kind of things. This is where, you know, if you post something and she'll go, well, why didn't you invite me to go to the horse show? I mean, people, they're just that tuned in, and a lot of our older generation, I should say older than me, maybe generation, not that it's an older generation, they maybe are retired, maybe are doing a part-time job, and they stay tuned into these things. I've decided my dad has become addicted to Facebook. He knows about everyone's children and their lives and what they're going and where they're going, because he's hooked in on there when he's, you know, we're all grown and gone, and so at night he talks to his friends and buddies and keeps track of everybody. So even though I know, was mentioned earlier, there was the farmer there sitting on his tailgate with the laptop, and that may or may not be the case today, I think we're having a big trend switch as people find how friendly some of these medias are for them. YouTube. 4 billion videos are viewed a day. 4 billion. I mean, a million is a large number for me to kind of grasp in my head. So 4 billion videos are viewed a day. And in 2011, had more than 1 trillion views. So talking again about people on Earth, 140 views for every person on Earth. Now maybe I could have. I don't think that I viewed 140 things on YouTube last year, and I think y'all are probably too busy to do that. So either we have some very overzealous YouTube watchers, but these are the numbers that YouTube provided for us. And then I thought really interesting, more videos uploaded in 1 month than the 3 major US networks put together in 60 years. That's a lot of video of, you know, and I'm sure several of you have gotten on there. Have you ever thought, well, I want to see, I'll tell you a quick story. My husband, we had to go to this awards thing, and my husband is a cattle guy. He wears starched jeans and starched shirt. That is all that is in his wardrobe, and he doesn't own a suit, doesn't care to own a suit, not his deal. But I told him he at least has to wear a sport jacket to this event. So we're on our way. It's Tulsa, about an hour from our house, and he's trying to work with his tie because he never wears a tie. And he goes, I don't know how to tie a tie. See if you can find a YouTube video about how to tie a tie. So we're driving down the interstate, and he's watching a YouTube video of how to tie his tie. Now, the first time he did it, he obviously did it backwards because we're shorter in front and longer in the back. But second time, figured it out. So, I mean, you can search for anything and find it. And here's one of ours. Hopefully, if I can find my mouse. Maybe. Billy, we just had it a second ago. I'm sorry. There we go. We'll show you a real quick one if it'll come up for us. Well, now it's not going to work, but I know we're pushing time a little bit. But we've got videos on our YouTube channel of everything from peanuts being harvested to cotton being harvested to Secretary Reese making comments for the CNG vehicles that we're switching over to at the agency. So variety of everything that we do, and it's something really that we want to focus on too, is adding to these videos so people, especially with our regulatory programs, can be familiar with the procedures and the processes that we go through. Twitter, we also tweet. 100 million active users worldwide. I'm probably not as big in Twitter. Facebook is a little more calm for me. Twitter, I feel like I'm being bombarded sometimes with all the information. But you know, there's lots of times, as was mentioned earlier, you find out on Twitter before you find out anywhere else. I mean, that's how instantaneous information comes to you. And on Twitter, you can find a whole variety of people talking about anything you can imagine. There's great agriculture folks to follow on Twitter, but there's also just regular people like you and me. There's CEOs, there's producers, there's famous people. I know I was watching a television show the other night, and scrolling across the bottom, it had the tweets of the folks that were on the show. I mean, it's just this constant information to us all the time. And the best part about it is you only have to listen to short messages from people. If you can't say it in 140 characters, then nobody wants to hear it. So you get these short little messages from everybody about what's going on. This is our website, which I'll walk you through real quick as kind of my final item, maybe, here. Now, obviously, this likes Billy better than it likes me because it does not want to read my, there we go. We'll see if it'll go to our webpage. It will not. Let's see real quick. But our website, we're actually in the process of redesigning our website, but I'll show you a couple. It's not going to let us on the internet. Okay. But we have so many different things that we offer at the agency that it's tough to put that in a user-friendly form for everyone, and that may be a similar issue, and you would think I would even know what our website was, maybe. For you guys, that you have so many different programs and so many things to look at. This is our homepage, which we're looking, revamping your website is a monstrous task, as we found out, especially when you're a government agency. But if we go over here to our Facebook and Twitter, and then we have the blog as well, then we have directories down here to the side. Anybody have feral swine problems in your area? Yes, show of hands. Great. We have a feral swine directory now, which we've got over 800 hunters and trappers listed. So if you've got landowners that have issues, send one to the website. They can find somebody that's listed by county, hopefully come help them out. Last year, because of the drought, we developed hay directories for both in-state and out-state, pasture lease. But let's go here to some of our links. We have a lot of different things from just our main ODAFF Facebook page, Forestry Services, which Michelle does a big part of taking care of that. Made in Oklahoma, our agritourism program, Ag in the Classroom. We'll click here on our Department of Ag page. But you can see Secretary Reese showing there at the legislative show. We have GIS Day at the Capitol. There's Peanut Expo was last Friday. I don't know if anybody headed down to the Peanut Expo. We even had a blood drive at the office. So it can be anything that we have. We had OALE from OSU that came by and visited the office. So we just try to get information out to everyone about the things that we're doing, programs that we're having. They can access it, they can respond, they can make comments. You can see this gentleman is from Morocco. You know, it's a worldwide interaction of accessing information, talking to people, telling them about what we're doing. And that's what we try to do on a regular basis, is give that information to people. So those are lots of the things that we're doing. And maybe we'll go back in our Twitter feed, very similar, that you have comments about things that are going on in the activities that we're having. So you can see all the comments, the people that we follow respond. NAS is housed within our agency, so respond to the survey, the NAS surveys that are going out. So just constant interaction between us and what we're doing, and hopefully the consumers on a regular basis. And we're trying to look at that on a regular basis and improve that dialogue and provide better services to the folks that we work for, which is pretty much everybody in the state of Oklahoma.